So welcome. It's the last of April 2025. Hans is not available, so I'm going to show some things that mostly Hans has implemented. But before I get into what will be like a demo where we can interact also about the details of it, I just wanted to give what do they call it? Shout out, they call it, right? In places. And that is that you can ask. We have tried on Discord. Have you joined Discord, everyone? Then you can ask it like this, and this is, I think, coming also on the wiki later. But you can put a message here, and I thought I put it. I thought that was the message. Okay, post. And then hopefully then this will be posted, and then at least that's how it works on another channel. Am I doing it correctly? The ones who knows it? Yeah, okay, so here it came. So the LLM replied, do like this. So you can ask it anything really, and what it does is that it takes the content of the wiki, and it takes the general coding knowledge, and it takes those things, put it together, and I think usually it gives quite a good answer. So it's worth trying out at least. If nothing else, it will give you a whole bunch of links to where it found stuff in the wiki, which could be helpful. So that's one thing. The other thing is, of course, to please use the search here. It's getting better and better. I think it's gotten really good. So I could ask the same question. Can't I pick there? And I guess this one will give you some answers here. And okay, well, maybe it was confused. How do I install Turnkey on Azure? No. What? Well, that didn't turn out too well.
Yeah. That's very fascinating taking deploy Turnkey on your own.
Yeah, with OneDrive. Okay. I was hoping for the other one. Anyway, so I think it usually is better actually. So let's see, OCLPS, because it should also find things. Here we have OCLPS examples, and here you can also find things directly on Stack Overflow. So if you click here, you go to Stack Overflow. Here it's inside this documentation, and then it can also find if it's mentioned in YouTube. It can find it there. I guess we have modeling with apples. Will it find that video that Hans made? Well, Wednesdays with MDriven. Well, I mean, do we use apples there? But it can definitely find if you have something there. All right. So that was use the wiki. It is better, I promise. Although it seems like, especially at least if you search for operators and things like that. And then I wanted to point out that there are a lot of new features in the designer, and this is the main thing I wanted to show. I can first bring in this application from here. So what we have here is an application that I've created to keep track of herbs that are grown in Uganda. So I've logged in here, and one can see here all these different herbs, and then one can go here and show it. So apparently this is how it looks when it's growing. I don't know much about these things. I just make the app. But it's been neglected for a long time, so I thought this was a good time to try out how would it work if we're actually trying to improve this right now, today, as an example. So this is an app running on Azure. It has an MDriven server and a Turnkey server, like they all do. And then what I've done after that is that I've done like this. I've pressed this play button. Let's see if I stop it so everyone is fully with us. Isn't it even running? So I played here, press the play button here, and then I come to this one, and then I have an MDriven server in the cloud. So I use the MDriven server settings, and I restart the local server, because that's the way we get it to run, so that it, no. So now it started the local server and it connected to the one in the cloud. So this is using an MDriven server at this address. And so when it started, it downloaded the model from the Azure server. And that one is already the one that I downloaded the model from. So I connected to it with a cloud symbol, and then I downloaded the model, and this is then how the model looks. Mostly tidy, but someone has drawn these things straight over the top here. I know the guy, but it's me that made these things a bit ugly. And we have some view models. If we look at them in the classic designer, we have some, not a huge amount of them. And so I have those ones already there. There is some real data being used in it. And then I started the modern build, the designer for, where is it? Here. So this one, I started this one that is running with data inside it. So I did the server setup, and then I switched to live edit. And now it starts the server. Well, the server got its first request. And then it loaded the model, and now it's connected to the data, and I have logged in. So welcome. Nice. This application has several different user modes. So it can have worker mode, supervisor mode, manager mode, product owner, and admin. And so we will use the manager user mode for now. This is like not a built-in feature in MDriven. This is part of the base app, and then I've extended on that one. So if you want to use this, you can go and download the base app and use that in your application, and then you can extend it. And in this, the reason for this here is that there are people that are only going to use it to report simple things on a phone. They use worker. Then there's a supervisor. They are like the bosses of the workers. And then the manager is the one that is the administrator of production. And then there's a product owner, which is the one who makes recipes out of the herbs. And then there's like the developer, the admin, me, or someone who makes changes. So now we're in this one. So, okay, yeah, it says here even who it is. So going back to the top, we can go here, and then I wanted to try out, if we go to herbs, what Hans and we have added. So there are several parts that we are planning to use AI. And I don't know if you, Daniel, or anyone else here have been thinking about how can we leverage AI? Well, I would say LLMs, large language models, right? Because to give more to make it easier for us, but also make it better for our users of our software. So, for example, if you document a lot in your model, we will provide a way for an LLM to consume all the things in the model, including the view models, and then explain what those view models can do for a user. So later you can put something up here, a help thing or a search like an LLM prompt, and an end user of your application can simply ask, how do I do this? And the system AI should be able, the same way that LLMs are now consuming content using RAG. I don't remember now what that acronym was for, but yeah, that's what we're using for the wiki consumption of content. So there will be a similar way to take your model content and do these things. And I think everyone who uses a modeling approach to software development will be having a huge benefit compared to coders, because there's no way really for an LLM to, well, there might be, but not as good to take the code basically, or in this case, and take the model, understand what's it about, and construct good answers to how things work. So the user could, for example, ask, where do I register this information? Or this field here, what is it doing in the system? And the AI could come up with an answer. So there is something for us inside to start helping us doing these things. And this is plan and summary. I don't know if Hans has demoed this before, but let's, and when I ran this before, the AI seemed to be kind of slow today, I would say. But anyway, so here, this is the AI's take on what this this view is doing. Maybe do I need to? There's no scroll here. So this is the herb seeker. Displays and controls herb information, shows herb details, seeker nestings, and then the idea is here that you can say what you want it to do. So this is the idea behind the view model. So here you can have before we have a code comment, the short one, but now we can also start putting in what is the point of this view model, and then ask it to say how well does this actual view model fit the plan for the view model. So this is, I don't expect anyone to rush to this, but it would be very, very interesting some months or a couple of years down the road to see how will this impact software development in general if we can express what we want things to do, and then the LLM will help us. So what this is, refresh the current description. So it refreshed this, it takes what we have, and what is left to do. So this one should say it should be possible to edit something. I don't know. This is, maybe we should go to something here. Maybe that's more interesting. Maybe this one, and ask it to summarize this one. What does this one do? So again, you should be able to do this. You should be able to upload. You should be able to, and so on and so forth. So here it's information shown, visibility rules, and then it says non-navigating actions. What do they do? So it tries to summarize it all. And I think at least it's a start to getting to that point. Then we have also some coding help that we're seeing coming in more and more places. So let's see if we go here and then we edit. We can't do that from in here. I always have this on, so I haven't even tried. So here, up here, I turned on the advanced edit, so I have it. And then you have it here, the second pair of eyes. So you can click here and it will give you a summary of what this is doing. And so this expression is syntactically correct. It returns a collection of ingredients. It can be simplified using the implies operator. I actually don't know if this is true. I think it's imagining this, because I don't think we have an implies operator. So,
Well,
yeah. So this also needs to be RAG enhanced, I think. But the point here is that we are now trying out all these things, and I actually have gotten it. It's better if you have something that doesn't work. And now we got service unavailable on the LLM, I guess. So we're trying to implement this AI everywhere. Oh, okay. So at least if you're learning this, it retrieves all instances of used parts and orders them alphabetically by part name. No immediate simplification is apparent. So it's at least trying to explain, and that's what we want. And I have used it a couple of times to find when I haven't understood what's wrong with an expression. Now to something more fun, and Hans has made a YouTube video. What is it called now that he said this is called? Whiz coding? No? What's it called?
Vibe coding,
Yes,
maybe?
you're right. Vibe coding. So let's try vibe coding. And so let's find another view, and maybe is there any better ones here? Well, maybe we can just, no, let's stay there. I wanted just to point out a few things again. So you see these colors here, they represent the different placing containers. You can drag and drop, you can drag straight in here. So if you want to move things, you can drag them in here directly to move them around. And you can also directly change all the settings, and they should update immediately, at least if the sync is working fully. You can turn it off up here, then you don't see that because they are in the way. There are also things like that I found good. There are new features to help you subdivide your problem of design, you could say. So you can right click and then child items to a columnar layout. So if you click that one, it will restructure it like that. So it will automatically take and split the thing into pieces. If we go back here with Control Z, we can also do that on a completely new. So let's try and find another view. And as you can see, this one should follow along when I do things here. Production plans. Let's say this one, that is not at all placing container based. This is still, you could say, old style. I don't know what we should call it. Grid. I mean, it is a grid style. It's using CSS grid, and it still has its ways because it is simpler to quickly get a functioning view with this. You don't have to care at all. But let's take this one and we put that on the whole thing, and we where do we do that? Isn't it here? Add placing container. So when we add a placing container, it just puts everything, and bam, it's like on top of each other. If we then go here and use child items, it will see that this one is actually a table and put it at the bottom. That is full width, and it will put the other things on top. And then this one, we want this to be the other way around, so let's make it row. And now we're kind of back to where we were. And then we can say, this is not nice looking because of this one, of course. So let's align them at the end. And at the end here is like from top to bottom, because that's the way the flex box and the placing container organizes things. So in this case, it's the bottom. But it at least makes it much faster to go from the grid layout to this other one, because usually the first thing you want to do is basically just subdivide everything into pieces. One thing that I've found useful also in other situations is, and I think that will be part of the standard styling, is an ability to easily put backgrounds or framing around a placing container, because that would make it easier for us to subdivide or split your things into pieces. Because usually what one wants later on is that if you push it together like this, it should wrap around on a mobile device. You can see here it doesn't wrap now, but if we were to say wrap here, then this one will wrap around properly. So usually you're subdividing things is just you having to split things into blocks that make sense contextually, and then you put headers and you put either frames or colors and things in the background to subdivide your screen. Okay, so let's do some other fun. So let's remove the advanced edit so we see what we're doing. And then here, these are both expanded features and an AI piece here. We remember to refresh the style properties from the wiki. This works the same way as tagged values in the model. If I click here, it will actually call our wiki and put all these things in. So this is basically pulling documentation from the ongoing work of populating the features. So this is our way to make it flexible, because you can add these, of course, yourself, but you can also ask the wiki to get them. And one thing what you can do is that you can just pick a background color like this, and it will put that color in. And then you can clear all values and you can go back to where you were. So all these are basically CSS things that are set. So you're setting these variables in the global CSS, and there's also things you can set even more. Theme measures, this is colors and measures, so you can here put something if you want. Base font size 25, and everything will become big, of course. And the interesting thing here is all these things that you see here, they can also be programmatically handled by using the style information. So what we encourage you to do is use these before you get into your own CSS mess. And we are working on trying to make the CSS management better, so that you don't have to edit it and keep track of which piece fits where, because it becomes very quickly very difficult very quickly. And I think CSS is as far away also as one can get from model-driven development. So we want to have some more model-drivenness into the styling, in the sense that the model-driven promotes declaration of what you want, not exactly how it's supposed to be programmed. And because of this, it takes a lot of time to write CSS and get it right. I don't know, do you use web, Daniel? Or
Well, my
I mean,
project,
not use web, sorry. Do you develop using CSS? Of course you use the web.
yeah, my MDriven project is a web API server, so it's only machine-to-machine communication. But I have written a non-MDriven client, and yeah, that's MVC core web API acronym salad. So I've had my issues with CSS. It's not that this complicated, of course. It's a much smaller app for admin
I don't
stuff.
think it needs to be big to get really complicated, because I mean, in this case with the placing containers, you could say, yes, that's just CSS. Yeah, but it will turn very, very ugly very quickly when you try to do these things and keep track of what's what. So
yeah,
we'll try to improve this, and one. So this is one way there. I think that we will be better at making local, you could say, per view CSS editing easier, and it's so you will be able to edit CSS in many places, and then it will be put together for you, so you don't have to keep track of where all the pieces are exactly stored. Now, one thing was it I copied from other places here, so I had a few prompts. The first one was, give the application a modern techie style with influences from K-pop. I don't know. Let's see where that is going. So apparently And I mean, that's almost the crazy funny things with AI, right? It will be different every time you try it. So if we press this button again, I'm sure it will be different. So what happened here really? So what happened was that when we click this button, it will put together all this information about how do you change the styling of this application. So it's basically all these settings together with your prompt. So that's basically what it did, and then it created this CSS, and then this was applied. So we could take, something else, and of course these should be you can develop. So this is style with influencers from Africa and the jungle. But I think it has its merits. I mean, sometimes you just want to make it something, and it's not, please include bananas. Bananas. I don't have a clue what will happen. Okay, yeah, so nothing, because I've had this, the LLM is really not on our side today. I had this problem before. Let's see what it comes up if we ask it to do. No, not running. Is it doing now? Yeah, something. It's at least calling. And this is a synchronous call, so it's actually freezing while it's doing it. Oh, look at that. It included a little banana.
A banana emoji.
Yeah. That is funny. I mean, it's not that bad actually. And then you can go in and do things like base. What was it? I thought I tried this one, because this one takes precedent over this one, if I'm correct here. So let's say we want them more rounded. Base border radius. Yes, I thought this was. No, maybe we have button border radius. This was really, I think, what I was looking for. Yeah, so now it made this one much rounder. So you can still override it. You can still. Oh no.
But I think it still did something interesting, because if you check a lot of tourist websites here in the side in Africa, they tend to use those kind of color patterns. So it's still something that managed to, it's at least right.
Yeah. And of course the interesting thing with what we are doing here is that we can run the application right away and try it out. So like please use a lighter background color, and let's try and see if it's, at least it's running now because it's frozen. So oh yeah, why not? Yeah. The banana is still there. So I mean, it's not bad actually as a way to try out your ideas. So let's keep that prompt, and I'll keep that. And because I also had something like what you can add on, like I did. Please make the font a bit funny. See what it comes up with, a banana themed.
Comic Sans incoming.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, it didn't do anything there. So let's click again. Yeah, probably Comic Sans or some other weird thing, right? Is it still? Oh no, I don't know why it's not. Yeah,
there it is.
Yes, and now we have bananas as a background.
Yeah.
Look at that, and no banana up there, but we have banana backgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Yeah. So, anyone has another what you want? What could the thing look like? Make the theme as a Thai vacation booking business. What would that look like? And you know, yeah, it's fun, but also no, didn't come back with anything. So maybe one has to click twice every time.
Well, if you have to come up with 10 different suggestions for a graphical theme, this can get you started.
Okay, so that was not. I don't think this doesn't feel tied to me at all.
No, it does not. Not yet, anyway.
Thailand vacation booking. Thailand. They maybe didn't understand. Make sure to include what is typical. Coconut. Beach.
I was thinking of
Feel.
strong spices, but
the text should feel like a strong, spicy meal. What that means, I have absolutely no idea. Isn't this what it's all about? This what was it called again? This way of
vibe coding.
The vibe
yes,
coding.
yeah. Well, it has more of that vibe to it. I have to give it that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, quite beige, but nice.
Quite beige, yes. And make sure the font is at least 15 pixels big. Because I think also if you are to try out ideas, it's not bad that you can make things without effort when it comes to just slapping on something that gives a feel of that you're moving somewhere.
Yeah, it's a bit like word art.
Yeah, maybe this will be hated in a few years. It's like,
Oh,
you
yes.
remember when people did that? That is so silly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it go here, and no, it doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah, in a few years, this will probably be seen as tacky or low commitment or something almost cheating.
Yes. But of course, this is just a fun implementation. I think what we want to show here is that there are ways that we're trying to bring in the AI to help out with styling. Because one of the things that is...
And you can certainly make use of this. I mean, you could slap together a high contrast theme for the visually impaired.
Yeah, definitely. Please create a style for the visually impaired. I think that's how you write it, right? But it seems like the LLM has given up on helping us. What I was thinking also about is in a lot of... Okay, great. Something got bigger.
The font is a lot bigger.
Larger font anyway.
I think this is as important today as this one. But this is just, I guess, a showing off that we have been super strong in modeling. We have been quite good at tech, what we call the modernity, because it's changing. You need to keep it modern. But we haven't given really any help to the designer of styling, more than that we have said that you can work with styling the way everyone else works with styling. That is basically by creating it by hand. And now we're saying first we did the work with not only having CSS script, but also placing containers, which is Flexbox, which is, and we're keeping improving on these features. And then now we also want to have an advanced styling part up here, not only advanced editing, you can have them both, but then you need a bigger screen at the same time. Both these assets are advanced, these tabs here are about being better at quickly editing and making applications that fits on different device types, mobile, different ways of doing that, and not leaving it to the individual to hack CSS. We can see that in our bigger projects, that it devolves into hundreds of hours of work very quickly, and it's not good. And then we have this also as a TK sync up here, and this is to support, there's almost nothing here because this uses so little of it. But the idea here is that you can bring in components, you can download them from, re-download components from GitHub. So now it's downloading all the available stuff directly there from there. And then if I thought we would get it right away. We don't get them here. Here. So here you have a lot of snippets, samples, components, and things that you can bring into your application. And the idea here is to create a more integrated environment that contains components, code, model sections, the live edit. So and the idea here is to cut down on the cycle that you have to go to. So we don't want you to have to compile anymore. If you can avoid it, you don't need to send up the model to a server and then reload. So all the things that we do here are hot reloaded things. So it's actually something like the web server that is running locally here is reading our changes from a local directory and like slapping them onto what is already there. You can do everything except introduce new attributes and methods and associations. If you do that, there's no way for the UI really to use them until you have clicked upload model, then reload the model, and then you can do it. But otherwise, these things you can change on the fly, and you can just run around your application and change whatever you want, and then you do upload model, and then it's in your fully published thing. Yeah, so I think this is what I had in plan to show, really, this vibe coding them together with this. And of course, we want anyone who watches this YouTube also later to tell us what do you think about it. The people right here and right now also. What should be improved and what should not. We can clearly see, I mean, we can see that this is a very crowded screen at this point. There's so many things going on because we want it all to be available at once. So one could, of course, argue, so I was like, yeah, but it looks really crammed with all these features. Yeah, but you want them when you need them, you want them. And so it works really well, but I can see that talking about beautiful interfaces, maybe this isn't one, but it's at least a very functional one.
Can you spread this across multiple screens somehow?
Oh, you mean these pieces?
For example?
I think that is coming, but not right now. What you, of course, do usually is that you have these on different. So you have this one on one screen, you have this one on one screen, and then I usually have this editor also on another screen. And then I have, because you can also nowadays open this one on separately, and you can still work on the model. So you can have this one, and then you can also have the action editor separate in tabs. So you can have your actions, your editing of of some things like this one. And it's also true that even if you edit in this one, let me do that. I'll show you what happens, because it's kind of neat. So let's say you have this one. You don't need to have the advanced edit here. Let's go into the, so go here to the Grower Seeker, I think it was called. There. So, right, so this is the same, but without that one in there. So if I know now I move something a little bit, it changed. It reloads and doesn't show that clearly what I'm doing. You see, it moves, it reloads and does its thing, even though I'm not even on this screen. So here you can see that it's changing up here. So if I pull this down, it moves here. So because as all MDriven things, and the designer is an MDriven application that uses its own thing, it's all subscribed across all screens. So you don't need to refresh anything. So you can actually do all the changes interactively, and they will show up here. So even if you have something like this on another screen, it will change automatically and immediately on all screens. But I know that Hans has been asked, like, this can't continue. We can't keep on piling more and more things onto one screen. But it also, as I'm sure all developers know, we need to first see the problem clearly, and then you address the problem. And because you can see now it's kind of really getting here. We have live edit, this one. We have, this is editing with the web browser active, but without the data. Then we have the server setup screen to manage the different local servers. Then we have the synchronization and the screen for managing local content. Then can also actually bring in the debugger here. And I don't know how much you all use this, but it's actually very useful to connect an active debugger to your server. And you can also do that easily from within. I mean, just this background thing here, you can press play here and start the debugger and run things and do things towards your database. And these new features with OCLPS, called PSEval and PSEval value, has really made it much better to use persistent storage access, because you can tell them what to subscribe to. I mean, normally persistent storage queries, like SQL queries basically toward your database, don't subscribe to the result. But here you can tell it if you wanted to subscribe to something. And then in several applications, I've now started with a pattern that is available partly in the package that is called calendar. There is a server-side job that updates the database, the current time every minute. And if you do that, what happens is that you will actually have something that you can subscribe to. And because you're subscribing to that thing, you get an update of your data every minute in the screens that are active. So not only can you, I mean, normally we subscribe to any change, but some things are difficult to subscribe to because they are, for example, let's make a sum of 10,000 things from the database. I'm not saying that you should redo that every minute, but if you have a dashboard that is specifically for that, and you have a user that's on that screen, if you put a subscription on that thing, it will recalculate that value once every minute. I was looking for this screen. It's here, yes. So there is an where do we have them? Not components. Is it mergeable snippets? Maybe we don't have it in here. I should ask Charles if we have the calendar package here.
Yes, it's there under the mergeable, MDriven mergeable. Expand that.
Oh, I didn't see that I could. Okay, yes, so here it is, this one, calendar package. That one contains a lot of things that are really good. It's like all the dimensions of a calendar, and it makes it possible to do analytics and it doesn't contain like chart components by itself, but it makes it easy to get the data summarized for making charts. So then one can go and get which one is that? I think you have made that, Charles, right? One. Is it not here? Maybe it's only in the wiki that tells on how you can use Google diagram components. Wasn't it Google or Chartable?
Yes, there is that dashboard app which demonstrates how you can actually use them with some demonstration data. That one.
Oh, this one. Okay, so this one contains things to make a dashboard. And I don't know if this one uses a calendar per se, but if you use this one to get your graphs, then you can also use the calendar package to easily get the dimensions that you want. Basically, what it does is it gives you a full calendar with days and weeks and months and years. And then the idea is that you link up your data to those tables with those data. Then it's easy to query them. All right. I think that was all that I wanted to share in that way. Anything else that we should mention or talk about?